I wouldn't record yet. It's not 7 o'clock.
You there?
Yeah,
All right.
I got my camera
right,
blocked.
Good evening, everybody. This is the open meeting of the Bellingham Board of Selectmen being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. I'm just going to start off, if we could, with a roll call to who is in attendance. So as I mention your name, if you could just answer in the affirmative, that would be greatly appreciated. I am Dan Spencer, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Vice Chairman Michael Connor.
Affirmative.
Thank you. Selectman Don Martinez.
Here.
Select Woman Cynthia McNulty. Selectman Bob Biaggi.
Present.
Administrative Assistant Hillary.
Here.
And last but not least, Dennis Frayne, Town Administrator.
I am in my house.
All right. So we also have other members of the town and departments that are here. And when it comes their turn to speak, we will identify them at that point. So we do have a full. All right. So, again, pursuant to the governor's order, this is an acceptable form of open meeting. That being said, we do have two public hearings that are scheduled for this evening. I am going to ask that we have a motion to continue both of those public hearings, as one is for a common vic license, as one is for a secondhand dealer's license, of which neither will be doing business before we continue this.
So moved.
That being said, any member, hold on, before we do that, that being said, before, once we continue those public hearings, we go back to the regular rules of a selectman meeting. It's not necessarily an open meeting. I'm sorry, it's not necessarily a public hearing, so solicitation for questions and answers from the public are not necessarily warranted. However, if you do have any questions, if you're joining in because Wheel of Fortune is born tonight, there is a option that you can text in. Write a text in the box on the Zoom, or you can raise your virtual hand, and our facilitator, Town Planner Jim Kupfer, will address that and let me know that someone has a question and or comment. All right. So, public hearing. I had it somewhere. This is so much easier when Hillary's handing me things. All right, so the first one is this one. All right, in accordance with the Bellingham Code of Bylaws, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 30th, 2020, 7 p.m. virtually on the application of Connect Ed and Inspired LLC for a common victular license, premises located at 1048 South Main Street. Again, at this point, I would ask my colleagues to for a motion to continue this to our April 13th meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Martinez. Do we have a second?
Second, Biaggi.
Second from Mr. Biaggi. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, 0. We 5-0. Okay. Oh, we're close enough to 7:05 at this point. In accordance with the Bellingham Code of Bylaws, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 30th, 2020, 7:05 p.m. in the Municipal Center, Arcan Meeting Room, or virtually, on the application of Amazing Bargains for a secondhand dealer's license, premises located at 133 Pulaski Boulevard. Once again, in light of the situation, I would ask one of my colleagues to make a motion for continuance till April 13th. We have a first from Mrs. McNulty. Do we have a second?
Second.
Biaggi.
Is that a second from Mr. Biaggi, did I hear? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, 0. All right. Next on our agenda, COVID-19 update from Local Emergency Planning Committee. Director, our Deputy Fire Chief, Mark Poirier, as well as our Health Agent, Bruce Wilson. So Mark, or Jim, if you could unmute Mark. And Mark Poirier has the stage.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'll give you an update on the cases currently in Massachusetts. We have 8 new coronavirus-related deaths, bringing the death toll to 56, with 5,752 confirmed cases at this time. There's over 720,000 cases worldwide, and that's the update right now.
Mark, are we still at 9 for Bellingham?
There's eight confirmed.
Sorry.
Correct, Bruce?
Right, there's eight confirmed, and the one worker for the DPW. I mean, at this point, I guess everybody, Bruce Wilson, Health Director. The DPW is now all gone through their quarantine. The 7 members that were with one member that had taken. They've
Very
decided.
choppy.
Jim, can you mute people so we can hear them? Please.
Are we good? Everybody can hear okay?
Yeah.
All right, so the DPW has decided to go to a split staff so that we keep some of the high level people separated, so that we don't have them all in the same place at one time here. So they've gone through a split shift, back at full force. Hopefully we don't have any more cases go through there. And again, we have the 8 cases in town. We pretty much split it at 6 all weekend, and there's just 2 there. There are about 39 people that are out for current testing, waiting for results to come back in. So we still need to incite upon the public there to try to only go out when necessary for your food or drugs or alcohol. But doing a job here in maintaining some sort of down here.
Okay.
All right.
Dan, can I just add a little bit on that? As I
Yes,
think
please, Dan.
as I think everyone knows, the LEPC has been meeting every morning at 9 o'clock. We've been having a public meeting at 10 o'clock on Access, and we are recording that, and we'll be rebroadcasting. Tomorrow we're going to have the school superintendent giving an update, answering a few questions that have been coming up. So I know you've all been watching, you've all been a part of those meetings. I think they've been very helpful, and a lot of good information has been getting out. We actually had 9 individuals tested at the DPW. We had an original 7, 1 came back positive, and we had 2 additional individuals who fortunately came back negative as well. So everybody's been negative with the exception of 1. So at one point in time, we had about half the individuals in that department that we were concerned about. But as of right now, we're pretty much back to where we need to be in that department.
Excellent. Any of my colleagues have any questions for Deputy Chief Poirier or Bruce Wilson?
No questions, just a comment that it's been very, very helpful to get those updates on a daily basis. I know several friends and family reaching out to me on a direct basis to get the updates. I encourage them to participate in the meetings, and if they don't, I'm well informed to give them updates. So great job.
Excellent. I just want to touch upon, I know that some people had questions about, and a lot of questions, I guess, with the Rhode Island travel advisory. As soon as that Mayor or Governor Raimondo issued that yesterday, there were people texting me like, can I not go to Price Right? I reached out to the president of the city council, Dan Gendron, And there was no, it's basically, it's the same thing that Massachusetts issue. It's pretty much unenforceable. It's a kind of data mining type thing. And I think they're more geared towards looking for the Connecticut border and the New York plates, if you will. So it's not a travel ban to Rhode Island. Everything should be status quo for the most part. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns regarding the COVID-19 update?
Just what you and I talked about, Dan, today. If you need somebody to pitch it for you for the 10 o'clock meeting, I'm happy to help out. I don't know if you want to maybe rotate people through so it's not always on you, just to offer.
Yeah, if anyone wants to be a part of the 10 o'clock, I'd be more than happy to stay home. I have no problem with that. Again, as the Board of Selectmen, we're really just kind of facilitating that kind of update and leaving the updates to the professionals. So
Right.
we'll take it from there. All right, fantastic. All right, next order of business. Rescheduling our town election and our town annual meeting. And I'll let Town Clerk Larry Sposato kind of chime in a little bit, but obviously with the way things are, we have our town election scheduled for May 5th, is it? And our town election scheduled for May, was it the, let me see, 22nd or 24th, right? Either way, we're looking to reschedule these meetings.
27th. Can you hear me?
27th, okay. Yep, I got you. Thank you. All right, so, that's why I was in June. So town meeting is scheduled for 27th of May. Election is scheduled for May 5th. So in accordance with what's going on here and the leeway that we have with regards to the Commonwealth, we're looking to reschedule both the election and the town meeting. The dates that we kind of looked at is the town election to be scheduled till Tuesday, June 9th, and the town meeting to be rescheduled to Monday, June 22nd. Now, right now, unless legislation passes in the House, we can't extend our town meeting any later than June 30th. Perhaps that might be an exemption, but at this point, if we do June 22nd, that gives us a little leeway in case something else happens and we need to extend it for that additional week. So we're going to take two different votes. I will ask for a motion for first to postpone our town election to June 9th, Tuesday, June 9th, and then I'll have a separate vote for extending the town meeting until June 22nd. So at this point, if anyone has any discussion comments, I will entertain those now.
Dan, motion to move the voting to June 9th.
All right. So we have a first for Mr. Connor for changing the local election from May 5th to June 9th. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mrs. McNulty.
I will
Any
abstain
further
from
discussion at
voting
that
on this.
point?
Dan, this is Bob Biaggi.
All right,
I'll
Mr.
abstain
Biaggi.
from that vote. Seeing as I am up for re-election for a seat on the Board of Selectmen, I will abstain.
And Dan, this is Don Martinez, and
All
I
right.
too will abstain since I'm up for reelection for the Board of Selectmen. I think it's prudent upon us to push it out as far as we can, given the circumstances we're dealing with today.
All right, so fantastic. So any additional discussion? Hearing none, this will take a majority of the board, so we need at least 3 votes in the positive. So all those in favor say aye. 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 So we have 3 positive, myself, Mrs. McNulty, Mr. Connor. We have 2 abstentions for the 2 gentlemen who are up for re-election, Mr. Martinez and Mr. Biaggi. Motion moves. As far as the town meeting goes, can I get a motion to change the town meeting to June 22nd, Monday?
So moved,
Make a
Mr. Spencer.
Go ahead.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Martinez. Did I hear a second from Mrs. McNulty?
You sure did.
I did. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 0, 5-0. At this point, I'd like to allow or ask for our town clerk, Larry Spasato, to kind of give us an update of what moving these elections mean and what other dates may be changed because of them.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that with the change in the date for the election, I have to adjust some other dates, and notably the last day to register to vote prior to the town election. So with the change that you've just made, that date will become Friday, May 29th. So that has to be publicized along with the change in the date. So I just wanted to bring that up. The other thing is that on that date, they have allowed us to have limited hours for people to come in and register. They're not relaxing it enough that we don't need to have that face-to-face, but they are allowing us to limit the hours. So depending on what the conditions are at that time, then I'll decide when the office will be open. And the other thing is that if we come to June 9th and things are not, I hope this won't be the case, but things are not still normalized, so to speak, we can also shorten the hours of the time at the polls. So that decision would have to be made 20 days prior to the election, which I believe is May 19th, so that it could be incorporated into the warrant. So when you approve the warrant, you'll be approving the reduction in hours as well. So I just wanted you to be mindful of that so that we can think about that as we get closer.
All right, so what I'm getting is the last day to register to vote now will be May 29th.
Correct.
And if we need to change the June 9th election, we have to do so by May 19th?
Well, that's the last day that we can post the warrant. So we really need
Okay.
to do it prior to that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's hope it all goes as well as we plan, right?
Hope so.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Spasato. Next on our agenda is the bid award for the dead tree removal on various streets. So, Mr. DiMartino, DPW Director, has presented us with a bid award for a contract for the dead tree removal. So I will look for motion. Do we, my colleagues, all have the motion as far as who to award the bid to? Or shall I just read it and look for
I
a
do.
so moved?
I'll read it for you, Dan.
Go for it.
So I move that contract 2020-DTR dead tree removal on various streets be awarded to the low bidder, Northeastern Tree Service, Inc. of Cranston, Rhode Island.
All right, we have a first from Mr. Biaggi. It's, how much is the amount, by the way, my friend?
In the amount of $28,923.
All right, so we have a first from Mr. Biaggi. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Martinez. And just so we know, we have five different bids. The lowest being $28,923 from Northeastern Tree Service, and the highest being $94,980. Again, we're going with the lowest bid. Any further discussion with regards to the motion?
Mr. Spencer, Don Martinez here. Any idea when Mr. DiMartino is going to schedule this work? I imagine it's going to be scheduled further into the year. Or Dennis, do you know what his plans are?
His plans, construction is exempt, and I think we're looking at getting this type of work out there fairly quickly.
Okay.
Provided these people don't have to work closely together. I know we're looking at some other road work as well, water work. So we'll be looking to get this done as quickly as possible. And the good thing is there's a lot less traffic on the road right now to really get moving on it.
Great.
Is Don DiMartino on the call?
He's not.
I did not
Okay.
see.
I was just curious about the range. I was shocked to see the range in bid prices, and I was just maybe want a little clarification on how it can go from 29,000 to 95,000.
Sure. Yeah, I think you've got three that are reasonably close, or even the bottom four. That high one, I think you could throw out, and the other four are within. Still a good spread, but 28,000 to 51,000 for four of them is not quite as bad. That 94,000, I think you almost have to throw that one out.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
But as he said, he did contact other communities that this company's done work with, and he got good reviews.
Excellent.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 0, 5-0. All right. So the next thing on our agenda is the board to vote to declare Bellingham Bellingham state of emergency. So Dennis, do you want to touch on this a little bit?
Sure. Actually, it's a recommendation by our emergency management director, Deputy Chief Poirier, who I know is on the line. But essentially, most communities are following suit with the state declaration. A local emergency often allows us to deficit spend. It allows us to pursue additional financial assistance that may be out there. And I don't know if the deputy fire chief wants to chime in on that as well, if Jim unmutes him. Mark, did you want to chime in? Yeah.
No, that's correct. That just gives us flexibility to pursue any money that we need during this crisis, and any state funding that may come up. This gives us a head start on the process.
All right. So basically, it's just a procedural type vote. There's nothing specific that we're declaring a state of emergency for anything specific. It's more to just be ready once we are ready to get some state and federal aid for the most part.
That's
My
correct.
understanding, yes.
Correct.
All right. All right. So I will entertain a motion to declare a Bellingham state of emergency from one of my colleagues.
So moved.
We have a first from Mrs. McNulty. Do we have a second?
Second.
And that was Mr. Biaggi.
Mr. Biaggi.
Excellent. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 0. All right. Town administrators report.
I know you've all been keeping up on the daily briefings that we have and the emails that are going out. Town operations continue to function. Our rotating staff is working quite well. People are forwarding phones to home. In today's world, a lot of people can work from home and get a lot done. So we've been successful from that perspective. I know the fire chief was on a call this afternoon with Representative Soder, and he was following up with him with regard to masks they're waiting for, or emergency PPE equipment, personal protection gear that they're waiting on. It sounds like he had just gotten a call from MEMA advising that some of that was on its way. So I think we're in reasonably good shape as far as our personal protection equipment. I'll look to the deputy fire chief to nod if that's the case. But I believe that is the case, that we have been getting equipment in, and we've had some great donations as well. People that have donated. I think one gentleman donated, I believe it was 395 masks to the town that he had. So
Awesome.
Just quickly, Dennis, we received, just prior to my leaving today, we received some gowns, more N95 masks. So we're in pretty good shape right now, thanks to the chief, his hard work going after that stuff. So we're in pretty good shape right now for the rest of, for a few more weeks, I guess.
Yeah. For the rest of this, that's what you wanted to say, right?
Yeah. The deputy chief's done a great job with that group. So we've had some very productive meetings, and under his leadership, I think it's been super. The other thing is the meetings have been going well. They're all recorded. They're on YouTube. If you just go to YouTube and search, if you're really desperate for something to watch, you'll see some of our public meetings. Board of Health's up there, Conservation Commission's up there. Planning board's up there, and of course, this meeting will be up there. So if anyone wants to look at our meetings, those that have been on Zoom so far, they're all there, and we'll look to have a link on our site. So Jim's been doing a super job as moderator, working closely with Karen, and I think we're getting used to this technology, and it's been working quite well. I was talking with the finance chairman, John Allen, over the weekend, and they're going to get started up now that we have voted on when town meeting is going to occur. They'll start up again with their meetings, the finance committee hearings. They'll get those going again, and we'll be ready to go for the end of June for our town meeting. Any questions about any of the activities that are going on in any of the departments, or?
None.
All right.
Thank you.
Any old business? Any new business? The only thing I want to bring up is just being a part of this for the last several weeks, starting with Deputy Chief Poirier through our health agent and our public health nurse, with all the department heads. The communication level has been phenomenal. That's the thing that we need. We need people communicating. We need getting the truth out there. We don't need rumors and innuendo. We need facts and updates, and it's a pleasure to work with all you folks. And it's uncharted waters, and we're navigating, I think, pretty decently. So I appreciate that from everyone.
Mr. Spencer, I would just like to add, over the past couple of weeks, I've taken upon myself to drive around town several times, down by the walking trails, over to schools, the playgrounds, over to Macy Playground. I've done it several times, and I just want to say I think the town of Bellingham is really heeding the advice from our president, from our governor, et cetera. When I drive through other towns, they're doing the same. You see a little more congregation in some than others, but I just want to say that I think in overall that even when I go to the market, if people are being very careful not to cross lines, waiting for people, I think in general, the goodness in people is really coming out. And if we can continue the social distancing that we're practicing, I think we're going to really nip this in the bud. But it's troubling times. But if we can listen to the advice and seriously do this, I think we'll come out on the other end. I know we're going to have a new normal at the end of this, but hopefully it's a much better new normal than where we're at today.
Absolutely. All right. Anything further from anybody? All right. At this point, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved and seconded. I'll let Hillary
Doesn't
decide who
matter.
did that.
Hillary can decide.
Rock, paper, scissors.
All those in favor?
Paper.
Aye.
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 Opposed? 0. Thank you very much.
All right. Everybody
Have a
take
great
care.
night.
Be safe.
Thank
Stay safe.